Engaging and Exploring How Making Connections with Math Students Benefits All by Karen Branch, University of Texas at Arlington, for my Education Class 5397, Implementing and Disseminating Classroom Research. When you think of an engaging teacher, what image comes to mind? One of these iconic Hollywood characters, or perhaps this one?
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the Great Depression, passed the
The purpose of this study was to examine the intrinsic and extrinsic values of fully implementing the 5E lesson plan model. In particular, the effects of having exploratory and engaging activities prior to simply the explaining portion of the lesson plan. The study used a pre-survey, mid-survey, and post-survey control group design using 200 Title I level high school geometry students. Treatment Group A received the pre-survey, an exploratory activity, an engaging activity, a mid-survey, the explained portion, and the post-survey. Treatment Group B received the pre-survey, the explained portion, and the post-survey alone. Students self-reported their sentiments with the Likert scale and 6 statements. I find I do well in math classes. If I struggle with a math question, I feel confident I can ask my teacher for help. When my teacher introduces a new math topic, I feel confident I can learn it. I am intimidated by learning math. I feel like it is difficult to learn new math concepts. I feel like my teacher is unapproachable if I need help. Unequivocally, the students who received the exploratory and engaging activities prior to the explaining portion felt more confident in themselves and in their instructor. This research focused on how engaging and exploring with students makes them feel valued in their classroom. It creates a greater buy-in to the classroom structure and reduces discipline issues. Engaging and exploring also establishes the instructor as an expert and inspires self-efficacy in the students. Students often feel a lack of confidence in their mathematical abilities, which results in behavioral issues in the classroom. This stems from a variety of sources: previous struggles and failures, difficulties understanding the instructor, lack of connection with the real world, and not being shown the big picture of how a math concept fits in the grand scheme of problem solving. As LeVar Burton famously said on Reading Rainbow, "Don't just take my word for it." Gregory and Ripsky found that teachers can build trust and cooperation from the relationships they shape to alleviate discipline problems. Denault and Durai found more frequent activity participation predicted better social skills, which in turn predicted fewer subsequent conduct problems among children. Additionally, Jane Amamaya, a researcher with the University of Pittsburgh, proved that students who had a high level of trust in both the math teacher and the institution took discipline constructively and exhibited a higher level of engagement. Krasno said when enrolled in classes with inference-based instruction, the initially least skilled children narrowed the achievement gap as long as they did not have conflictual relationships with their teachers. And how was the study conducted? I used 200 high school geometry students from New Caney High School, a Title I school in New Caney, Texas, and I broke them into 2 treatment groups, A and B. These students participated in a lesson at the start of school in basic geometry concepts. Neither group had any interaction with the instructor prior to this lesson. Group A engaged and explored with the subject prior to the lesson. Group B was given a short introduction from the instructor and went straight into the lesson. Surveys were taken before, during, and after the various sections. The surveys used the Likert scale and measured how much the students agreed or disagreed with the statements. From the initial survey, which both groups received, there was no statistically significant variation in their starting levels of confidence in themselves and in the instructor. And the results of the study, well, they were mind-blowing, very significant. This chart is a percent change from pre to post treatment for both groups A and B. Some of the data points I want to highlight for you, negative 72.7%. To explain what this means, initially, the number of students who reported they strongly disagreed with the statement, "I find I do well in math classes," that number fell by nearly 73% after they had received the treatment. The number of students that strongly agreed with the statement, "If I struggle with a math question, I feel confident I can ask my teacher for help," from initial to post survey, that increased 215.4%. The number of students from initial to post that said they strongly agreed, "When my teacher introduces a new math topic, I feel confident I can learn it," that increased by nearly 173%. So as we huddle to discuss the results, as you can read from the previous chart, students who received the 5E learning cycle had significantly higher self-reporting scores across all areas. More students felt they did well in math class. More students felt they could ask their teacher for help. Less students felt intimidated by learning math. Less students felt it was difficult to learn new math concepts, and less felt their teacher was unapproachable. Of the more significant figures, it's fascinating to point out the 218.2% growth in the number of students who self-reported they strongly disagreed with the statement, "I feel like it is difficult to learn new math concepts." There was a 233% growth in the number of students who self-reported they strongly disagreed with the statement, "I feel like my teacher is unapproachable if I need help." That means whatever value it was initially, that increased by 233% of people saying, "No, I disagree with that statement. I can talk to my teacher if I need help." This unequivocally speaks to the positive outcome teachers will receive if they take the time to engage and explore with students as opposed to just strictly lecturing. So you may be asking at this point, what about Group B? We understand the treatment group A was all sunshine and roses. They did significantly better across all of the Likert scale after having engaging and exploring activities. But how was that level impacted when the instructor did not employ the engage and explore activities? How did those kiddos do? Well, as expected, there was some improvement across all of the Likert scale categories. Students were taught a lesson and could, at a minimum, evaluate their instructor's teaching style and expectations, but it was not nearly as significant as treatment group A. For example, for the statement, "I find I do well in math classes," treatment group B saw a 22% improvement compared to a whopping 140% improvement in treatment group A. So with that significant difference, it leaves little doubt in this researcher's mind as to the best approach teachers should be taking when designing lessons, i.e. the 5E model. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a wonderful day.